On this week's Brit Wres Round Up, all the latest British wrestling news from the likes of NXT UK, Progress, Rev Pro UK, TNT Extreme, Insane Championship Wrestling, and many more. Of course, we are TNT, the Great British Wrestling podcast for Great British Wrestling, as featured on bodyslam.net and the John's Podcasting Network. I am the Great British Otaku, Mr. Andrew Morandi to most. Here's Big Daddy Dan, Mr. Daniel Allen, just Dan for short. How are you doing?
Sweaty.
It's not that hot today. I say that up north, knowing that it's probably at least 5 degrees hotter down south.
It's 32 at the moment, according to the car.
That's a lot hotter than it is up north at the moment. We're like 20 right, if we're lucky.
No, I'm making a lovely batch of ball soup at the moment. It is hot down here.
Well, enjoy it while you can. It's the British summer.
Yeah, I'm happy with it. I like it. I'm not complaining.
That's not too bad. Well, we've been away for like 2 weeks, just due to health issues. Needed to take a little bit of a break last week, but we are back this week. We got plenty of news. Kicking things off, of course, with the new Japan G1 Climax. Let's see how Zack Sabre Jr. and Will Ospreay have been getting on.
How have they been getting on?
Well, Sabre Jr. is currently on 6 points following 3 wins and 1 loss. He is at the joint top of his Group C alongside Tanahashi. But as Tanahashi picked up the win in their match, he has the tiebreaker, so is technically in the lead. Hiroki Goto, Evil, and Tetsuya Naito are all right behind him on 4 points, and they are exactly who Zack Sabre Jr. has to face next. So his match with Tanahashi was bloody great. It's just excellent pro wrestling match. I've been a bit behind with New Japan. I didn't see his last match out. Will Ospreay currently not doing too well with
surprising.
Only 2 wins and 2 losses out of his 4 matches, leaving him on 4 points. In one of his losses was to David Finlay, who does top the group with 6 points. Everybody else is literally on 4 points. It's kind of like the group of death. It's the most complex group of who's going to go through. This bar, say, El Fantasmo, who does currently sit at the bottom of the group on 2 points. But they've been good. It's been a good G1, and they've been having great matches, of course, each time they step into the ring. I do mean to catch up on the latest couple of matches just to see how they really got on. But other than that, yeah, they're not. I think I'm really hoping Zack Sabre Jr. goes for this G1. I mean, it'll just be perfect. He's had such a great year. And then, of course, with New Japan being in the UK in October, you know, Zack Sabre Jr. has said that if he wins the G1, he's not waiting till Wrestle Kingdom. He'll fight for the championship at the London show. So, come on, Zack Sabre Jr. Come on, bring that title home.
We know that they can always show up well when it comes to these shows, and it's great to see British wrestlers in Japan doing amazingly. And another, English wrestler, British wrestler,
yes,
Scottish wrestler who's heading to Japan is Jack Morris.
Yeah, so his full schedule has been released. So he kicks off his tournament on the 11th of August against Kaito Kiyomiya. Then he has 14th of August against Satoshi Kojima. 17th of August, it was supposed to be Timothy Thatcher, but he's now been replaced. I'm assuming probably due to an injury. Young guy, Kinya Okada. Then on the 19th of August, he's got Katsuki Nakajima. On the 20th of August, Takeshi Sugiura. On the 27th of August, Masakatsu Funaki. On the 28th of August, Masa Kitayama. And of course, we spoke with Mr. Jack Morris last week. Our interview is available now on our YouTube channel. I've literally just finished writing an article based on it where he talks about his upcoming matches for Noah, in particular against Kaito Kiyomiya. who he's really looking forward to facing. And I really want to know who's got a better drop kick, because they both do beautiful drop kicks.
It's a great little interview that we did with Jack Morris. Really lovely guy, really gives good opinions on his upcoming opponents, and I highly recommend that you give it a listen or a watch on YouTube.
Yeah, and of course we don't just talk. No, we do talk about his ICW runs, being tag team champion alongside Dickie Divers as the 99. Of course, his love for Brooklyn 99 and many more subjects. Now, I know you watched NXT UK this week. I didn't, so I'll let you drop the bombshell that came. I mean, it wasn't quite a bombshell because it was already ruined by Inside the Ropes like 2 weeks ago, but go ahead.
NXT UK news, Ilya Draganov is injured. He twisted his ankle very badly, rolled over it during his match against Wolfgang last week. And as such, he has had to relinquish the NXT UK Championship. They showed in slow motion him landing on his ankle after being thrown into the corners. And he rolls over it in almost exactly the same way that Blair Davenport did when she went over her ankle. It did look very similar. Has this title reign been cursed?
It has kind of been cursed, hasn't it? It's certainly not been the best NXT UK title reign. I still think that goes to Walter. I think he made that title feel super important, like it was the thing to go for when Walter had the championship. So the injury to Rampage.
Yeah. Walter was a dominant champion. Draganov fought from underneath the whole time. I did say that I wasn't happy with how he was being portrayed during his run as champion.
He had some great opponents, but didn't really seem to get that great match. Like Walter had a great match every time with a lot of the same opponents that Draganov did face.
Do you think this is the last we've seen of Draganov in NXT UK?
I mean, it'll be time to move him on, I think, if he and when he returns from injury, because he will be back. But is there any point bringing him back to NXT UK? Should he go on to the WWE main NXT at least? I mean, there's a few guys that really need to actually kind of move on right now and head up then. Ilya Dragunov is certainly one of them. The other guy, of course, is Tyler Bate. Of course, have you seen what they're doing to WWE NXT UK guys on NXT? They've turned A-Kid into some Power Ranger luchador. You haven't been around for me to talk to you about this. Some Axiom mask bland luchador. He was so good.
Yes, there was no need to remove the whole A-Kid face. Just change the name.
I would have changed the name. I would have agreed to a name change, but not Axiom, but just certainly not as what they've done, made him a luchador. Oh, it's just so ridiculous. So God knows what they'll do, but it's a new day at WWE.
Yeah, let's wait and see what happens to NXT. Is it going to go back to the black and gold? We shall see.
Or at least the blend of black and gold and thing. Let's get rid of the whole changing names. And I mean, I don't think they should change their names back, apart from making an Axiom. I think they should just scrap the gimmick and give him a whole new back, but just give him a good name.
We'll see how it goes for him. So basically, we are going to need a new NXT UK champion. And on next week's episode of NXT UK, we'll get the first of our 2 matches of a tournament to give us a new champion. Matches announced are for next week: Oliver Carter versus Charlie Dempsey and Trent Seven versus Wolfgang. 2 winners will then face in the semi-finals. The other first round matches, which will be following week, are Tyler Bate versus Kenny Williams and Mark Andrews versus Joe Coffey. I am really looking forward to Tyler Bate versus Kenny Williams.
I don't think Kelly Williams should be in a tournament for the NXT UK Championship.
No, Sam Gradwell should be.
Yeah, I mean, that's to say, I mean, it's difficult to really pick somebody else out who can and who's not actually injured right now as well. Yeah, it should be a good match. I do typically expect Tyler to go through. Do you think it'll be Tyler Trent in the finals?
I don't know. I think it'll all be down to what they want to do with Charlie Dempsey and whether they want to pull the trigger on him.
See, for me, I think it's time to re-pull that trigger on Tyler Bate. Give him another title run and then send him off to NXT UK following that.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from with that, or have him as a true world champion defending across the world.
Yeah, something like that. Just I don't know where he is at the moment, but I think he deserves to be the first two-time champion. He's already the first Grand Slam. I think he should be the first two-time champion, and I think he should then, because we just mentioned Ilya Draganov as somebody who should probably be moving on right now. Tyler Bates, somebody who really needs to be moving on now. He's still young. I mean, he must only be, what, 26, 27?
If that.
Yeah, so there's still plenty in him. Just think it's time to move that on, because quicker they get him onto the main roster. And I tell you what I did see, though, was a very slim chance that this could happen. Pete Dunne posted on Twitter the other week. In fact, this is his last tweet. You can check it out for yourselves. And it is literally him with the NXT UK Championship in his mouth, you know. I am Pete Dunne. And then it said, Clash. Probably.
Clash. Yes, please.
That would be awesome, especially if you can run it back to Pete Dunne versus Tyler Bate and actually give Tyler Bate back his win almost.
Yeah, that would be... They don't need to sell any more tickets now. They've almost sold out, but that would sell tickets.
You know, even if they wanted to do that as a pre-show match, I would take it. I really, really would. I would take it. But I think if you're going to do it, you do it to open the show properly.
Yeah, you give them at least 25 minutes.
And you have them just rerun that classic that they absolutely do. They tore down the house the last time those two went at one another. Can you imagine them in front of a huge Millennium, whatever the stadium's bloody called now in Cardiff? That would be pretty good. I mean, the rumors right now, the main event is going to be Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns.
Yeah, although McIntyre got taken out by Killer Cross, so we shall see what happens there.
Indeed. Another match is supposedly happening over at Clash is Shayna Baszler versus Liv.
Yeah.
For the is it Liv More?
It is Liv Morgan. And there's also question marks around Tegan Nox, seeing as Triple H is bringing back everybody.
Yeah.
Bring back Tegan.
Bring back Tegan. Hashtag bring back Tegan. I'm still surprised she hasn't been snapped up by either Impact or AEW, and because I can't think of why they wouldn't, because she's arguably one of the best in the world, and when she's fit, of course, and when she's injury free, which she's never going to be injury free now, but she can get a good run. I think she should be a superstar.
Yeah. Talking about superstars, let's talk about Rev Pro UK.
Well, do you want to do the actual NXT UK review?
I can do the NXT UK review. Give me just 1 second.
We've been talking about NXT UK review. We might as well get the review done. You tell me what happened, well, other than, of course, the bombshells in the tournament.
Well, we started off with the bombshell.
Yeah.
I kind of like the way he did it, because with his speech, he was like, I could talk about all the things I've overcome, but that's been done. I could talk about all the people I've beaten, but that's been done. We all have to fight our own battles. Quite like that. Yeah. And the crowd chanted undefeated at him as he left the ring, which was
fair.
Quite nice. I think they just mispronounced Undis, but yeah, it was good. Chase U. That's the one. Chase U arrive in the UK. They walk around London like American tourists do, and annoy everybody like American tourists do. They arrive at the NXT UK warehouse and find Shah Samuel sat outside under a blanket, looking dirty with no shoes on. They try and give him a motivational speech, but he just loses his temper and demands a match instead. The tournament is then announced by Johnny Saint and Skid Scala. It's already been covered.
Now, yeah, Shaw, he should have been in the tournament.
No, he can't at the moment because of where he is in storyline.
Well, he may be broke, but he could still be in the tournament. There's nothing wrong with him being broken in the tournament.
Noam Dar to try and prove himself again could have been in the tournament.
Noam Dar again, yeah. Just
we then have a match.
No offense, Kenny Williams.
We then have a match. Oliver Carter versus Rohan Raja. As expected, there was outside interference from De Familia. Carter gets the 1-2-3, but is beaten down afterwards, and the referees break it up. Again, nobody comes to Carter's aid.
No, that's why he's going to have to join De Familia.
Eliza Alexander is then backstage and is sick and tired of all these Americans coming over. Tia Hale is cutting a promo and she gets completely torn apart by Eliza Alexander, who calls out the whole of Chase U. And
I completely agree with her.
Yeah,
lambasted. Yeah, don't stop bringing these Americans over here, and definitely stop putting them over the British talent.
Sam Gradwell then calls out Tierman as a bully needing henchmen. So maybe someone is going to finally stand up for Oliver Carter. Bodie Hayward is the member of Chase U.
Okay.
Big American guy, looks kind of like a young Mr. Ass, Billy Gunn. And he's an ex-American footballer. He took on Charles Samuels, who came out in ripped up old clothes, looking kind of like the Brooklyn Brawler, carrying a shopping bag on a stick with his cap going down the aisle trying to get pennies.
Did he pick up the win?
He did.
Yes.
Yes.
Go on, Shaw. Go on.
Bodie was offended by Shaw's smell, and the crowd started chanting, "Take a shower." But Shaw Samuels did win with a big power slam.
Go on, Shaw.
So yeah, he was very happy at the end.
I'm a bit Shaw. Shaw's been excellent in NXT UK.
Yeah. Blair Davenport then came out. Our advertised match was Meiko Satomura versus Sarai. Blair Davenport came out and basically insinuated that she'd beaten them both up and neither of them were coming out. And she demands a title match against Meiko Satomura. Out comes Skid Scala. But then Mel comes out and says, "You can't just demand matches." Then Eliza Alexander comes out and says, "Yes, you can, and I demand a match." And then Isla Dawn comes out in the ring behind Blair Davenport, and Sid Scala decides to make a #1 contenders match of Isla Dawn versus Blair Davenport, and just doesn't mention the other two.
Why not make it a fatal 4-way?
Well, they should have done.
Or even just follow your example of what you were doing with the men's and make a tournament with the 4 women.
Yeah. Well, Isla Dawn focused on Blair Davenport's injured ankle, which made sense. Davenport just overpowered her throughout. Isla did get a lot of close roll-ups, but Blair was just too powerful the whole way through.
So wait, are we pushing Blair as a face?
No, Blair was getting booed and Isla Dawn was getting crowd cheers. I was equally confused. But then Eliza Alexander came out and grabbed Blair Davenport, grabbed Isla Dawn after she was about to pin Davenport, and the match was thrown out. And then Mel came out, and all 4 of them were fighting in the ring, and the match ended with all 4 women. The show ended with all 4 women fighting.
Meh.
This was definitely thrown together. I'm guessing there was an issue with flights or something, and that's why we didn't get Sarai and Satomura. But this was the wrong match. This was totally the wrong match. Isla Dawn has had too many attempts recently. Blair Davenport, yes, definitely.
I mean, was she still doing her witchy thing?
Yes.
I don't get it.
It didn't make a lot of sense. Match itself was good. I enjoyed the match. But I would have enjoyed even more a fatal 4-way. I like the fact that Eliza Alexander wasn't with Bratty Brookside, she wasn't her own, so they're pushing her more. So we shall see. Overall, 2.5 sugars.
Yeah, sounds about right for the show. Let's move on to some of the independent UK promotions out there. Kicking off with RevPro UK. 2 matches, actually 4 matches have now been announced for RevPro UK's anniversary show. Ricky Knight Jr. gets one last shot at Will Ospreay's RevPro UK Heavyweight Championship, but his career will also be on the line. And that will be the main event of night 2. What's likely to be the main event of night 1 is Luke Jacobs defending his Cruiserweight Championship against United Empire's Francesco Akira.
I still don't buy Luke Jacobs as Cruiserweight champion.
I've told you, he's literally doing it on purpose. Guarantee you, he is doing it on purpose, and he constantly, he likes to take pot shots every now and then at Progress, and can't deny he doesn't if you listen to him on commentary. And I think he's done it on purpose. And
I love Luke Jacobs. I believe in Luke Jacobs. I think Luke Jacobs possibly is starting to be the best wrestler in the UK at the moment. I think I might actually rate him over. I'm definitely rating him over RKJ right now. I'm starting to rate him over his Northwest Strong counterpart.
I don't blame you. He's having banging matches every time he gets into the ring. I mean, his match for the Cruiserweight Championship against Michael Oyuku in Manchester was phenomenal. If you listen to my review, and last time we did do a Brit Wres Round Up, I just waxed lyrical about it. It was just, it was so good, and the crowd was so just raucous for it. They were just, I mean, they booed Michael Oku.
Yeah, and that doesn't happen.
That doesn't happen. Crowd. No, and yeah, I almost thought you expecting to see the sign: if Michael Oku wins, we riot.
So, what other matches have been announced?
Sunshine Machine will be defending their tag team championships against the Velocities, who won the Great British Tag League after they beat Aussie Open. That was the whole thing. Great match. Don't mind the Velocities. In fact, I think they're a phenomenal tag team, but they are junior heavyweights, and they shouldn't be beating Aussie Open. They just shouldn't be. My personal opinion about wrestling, there should be heavyweights, junior weights, and you have to be the best of the junior weights to beat them. And I don't buy it. They're just they're so good. They're so flippy. They're young bucks, but they're just, I don't know, just not. I'm not a big. Wasn't a big fan of them picking up the win, and I knew it was going to happen as well, and so I think that kind of. Already, I was like, Velocities are going to win this because Aussie Open already got the 1 win over Velocities. And of course, in the Sunshine Machines and the Velocities went to a time limit draw. So therefore, of course, they've got to have their match. Then the Velocities will probably win the the tag team championships at this anniversary show. So they can have one more match with Aussie Open and probably either have, it depends on who, it starts up for who would win that one. Obviously, I would put the belts back on Aussie Open, but it just seems a bit predictable.
While we're talking about tag teams, let's do our next news story, because a British tag team that haven't tagged together for 15 years, I believe, are getting back together at 1PW. Colt Cabana has announced that at New Twist of Fate on the 1st of October in Doncaster at the Dome, Team Shag are reuniting. Greg Burridge and Colt Cabana are back, and they're going to be facing Nick Aldis and Doug Williams, the British Invasion. How cool is that? All right, well, I think it's cool.
I get that there's history here. I really, really do. But you got the British Invasion back in the UK. And I get that there are former 1PW tag team champions, Team Shag, but you put British Invasion in there with Team Shag. Out of all the amazing tag teams you could have put him in the ring with, you put him in there with Team Shag.
I'm happy with it. You are going to have a true British style tag team match. It's going to be great.
I'm on the fence about it. I think British Invasion, they should have had the biggest. You should have brought Aussie Open. You should have had the British Invasion versus bloody Aussie Open. I mean, I know you can't have the Young Bucks because obviously that would definitely be. I mean, not the Young Bucks, the Young Guns, Luke Jacobs and Ethan Allen. That would be the obvious match really to have if they were fit and healthy. But no, a Sunshine Machine.
I'm sorry, I'm happy with this match. I think it is going to be good.
Look, I think the whole card's going to be good. I think it's going to be a good match. I'm not saying it's not going to be a good match. I just feel like British Invasion really should just have it. And look, Cole it's just, for me, I think there's much better matches on the card. You know, when you consider Alex Hammerstone versus Nathan Cruz, Cara Noir versus Christopher Daniels, Ace Austin versus Robbie X, Mark Haskins versus RVD, Mickey James versus Lizzie Evo, Session Moth Martina versus Ruby Soho. They're the matches for me that really sell this event. The absolute, I think they are great matches. And of course, there's going to be one more match that you can talk about in a minute. But then, of course, there's this match that's just been announced that has Callum Newman versus Man Like DeReese versus Michael Oku versus Will Cruz versus Scotty Rooks versus Ricky Knight Jr.
Oof.
Just 6 of the best young wrestlers in the world right now, let alone the UK. 6 of the best young wrestlers in the world right now. That is going to be an insane. It's not a scramble match either. It's a proper elimination style match. So we're going to whittle it down. But yeah, that's a banging matchup. Now that's a great matchup.
Yeah, that is going to be absolutely phenomenal. And I'm looking forward to seeing who wins. I genuinely think it could be any of 3.
Really could. I mean, if we're going to throw my money in the ring, I'd throw probably a Ricky Knight Jr. right now.
I would throw a Man Like DeReese right now.
Because he is having banging matches after banging matches right now as well. He is really killing it. And
He is, and he's just called out Matt Cardona.
I know. We'll be talking about that in just a little while, so hold your horses. Why don't you tell us about that one and final match that I left off my list?
The survival of the fittest 6-man tag match. There's going to be a little bit of hardcore wrestling here, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming it's going to be deathmatch in stylies because it's got Big Effing Joe, Tyler Devlin, Ulf Herman. It's going to be a deathmatch.
I don't think it is. I don't think it is because it's been advertised as not an over 18 show.
Okay, so a hardcore match.
Yeah, and there's a big difference between hardcore matches and death matches.
There are, and very, very much are.
Yeah, and I believe it will be a hardcore match, as I said, but I don't think it'll be a death match. I don't think we're going to see light tubes being stabbed into people. I don't think we're going to see anything like that. I think we might see some thumbtacks. I think we might see some table spots, but I don't think we're going to see weed whackers or anything else.
No weed whackers, and yeah, hopefully no glass light tubes. As you say, leave that for the over 18 shows. I think, as you're right, I think this is just a broad family show. I don't think there's any age restriction put on the show whatsoever.
Yeah, so I would definitely say that I think, yes, a hardcore match, and you got some great hardcore wrestlers, and those guys can wrestle. Big Effing Joe is a good wrestler. Ulf Herman is a good wrestler. Tyler Devlin, I've only really seen in death matches, but you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that he is a good wrestler.
Why not? TNT Extreme Wrestling.
Yeah.
Well, they've announced a new streaming deal, and it kicks off this Tuesday. Actually, just been announced for this Tuesday, and it will be the Thrill Kill show. Will be the first show that is going up, and it was like about 4 months ago. It's been a while since they've had a streaming deal, so this is awesome to see. I'm just trying to find the link to it now. Where has it gone? But yes, Thrill Kill, which was, and it's going to be, because they run live, so it's a streaming service, but and then although you can pick and choose, they also have like a live, like the WWE Network. And I think there's adverts, so it's all free,
which can only be a good thing.
I think you can sign up for. There was a press release. I did have it, but
But we're just over the moon because we love TNT. TNT have been putting out some of the best matches in the UK. And the fact we're now going to get to see them live again, live on demand, you know what I mean? It's great news for British fans. Get out there and watch as much TNT as you can, because you will not be disappointed.
So this is the Pro Wrestling TV is the first and only free ad-supported professional wrestling streaming service available app stores worldwide. Hundreds of thousands of users, launched in April. BWTV linear channel is currently available in over 150 million households on services like Plex, Streamium, Sports Tribal TV in Europe. PWTV offers premium wrestling content, showcasing a variety of wrestling promotion, talk shows, documentaries, and feature films. We're looking for a new channel since Powerful TV left as well. Just throwing it out there. But yeah, they've got I believe Warrior Wrestling is available on there, so you can go check out all of the Warrior Wrestling. I also think Control Your Narrative are on there as well.
Never mind.
So yeah, they're on there. I can't remember. I think there's a couple of others on there as well. 8 p.m. Eastern, which I believe is
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just looking on their site and they've put 8 p.m. GMT.
I think 8 p.m. See, I've got it says 8 p.m. Eastern on the
It does say 8 p.m. Eastern and 8 p.m. GMT, so maybe they're showing it twice.
Yes.
But let's hope so, because you want to see as much of it as humanly possible. But
I believe they're making midnight anyway, 8 p.m.
Well, it wouldn't make sense then if they were showing it twice.
Yeah, well,
so,
who knows?
But let's talk about exciting things. Let's talk about flawless victory.
Yes, the KO submission tournament, no ropes, chain wrapped arena. All the entrants have finally been named. They've also announced the full lineup. They've recently added Ultimate Fighter Dave Faulkner and ICW's Andy Wilde. So they've got brilliant backgrounds for this type of tournaments.
I love that pod god.
There will be another featured match on the card, as well as the 8-man tournament, which will be Simon Miller versus Big Guns Joe, as their TNT Ignition rivalry finally comes to a head. So a little extra for you. But the quarterfinal matches are Brendan Wright versus Shreddy.
Nice.
Jay Joshua versus Tristan Archer.
Amazing.
Charlie Sterling versus Jurgen Simmons.
Except it's not.
Has that changed?
Yeah, Jurgen Simmons has been replaced by Andy Wilde.
No. Marius Al-Ani was replaced.
Marius Al-Ani was replaced by
So Charlie Sterling versus Jurgen Simmons, and Dave Faulkner versus Andy Wilde. So let's have a look at a couple of these matches. Brendan White, Shreddy. Shreddy is a freak athlete, isn't he? He is just absolutely dejacked and stacked daddy of British wrestling. Brendan White, big Welsh bear. He is a technical brute, is the best way to describe. He's a great wrestler, but he can hit you hard as well.
He's not going to be intimidated by Shreddy.
You don't forget.
I don't think Brendan White will be intimidated by Shreddy at all.
No.
I do think he will give him a good match. However, I do think the Jack Stack Daddy will be standing tall at the end of it.
Jay Joshua versus Tristan Archer. Tristan Archer, the French veteran, is literally one of the best wrestlers in Europe right now. He is tearing it up as the WXW Unified Champion. He's been having so many great matches. He really doesn't get talked about enough on Twitter. I honestly couldn't say more good stuff about Tristan Archer right now. I honestly think he just killing it. But Jay Joshua, in this KO submission, he is an amateur wrestler, kickboxer. In this type of tournament, I believe his background might give him the edge.
I do. I mean, the thing about Jay Joshua is he is an absolute teddy bear outside of the ring. He is. He's the nicest guy going, and he's just so lovely. And then he gets in the ring, and you're like, holy shit, where did that come from? He can really go. His match that he had last year with help me out here. Yes, Chris Ridgway at Wrestle Carnival really showed what he's capable of. And I think it's going to be a tough one to call between himself and Tristan Archer.
Yeah, as I say, the amateur wrestling background and the fact that he's got a kickboxing background as well. I think if this was a normal match, I'd say Tristan Archer all day long. But in this KO submission, Shane wrapped the arena, I think Jay Joshua may have the edge. Charlie Sterling versus Jörn Simmons. Again, two absolute freak athletes. Huge men who can fly around the ring with ease, great speed, power. This is going to be an intense match. I put it that way. It's going to be a very intense match. I can't call it.
No, neither can I. Charlie Sterling is just he's waiting for that platform to turn the corner as a singles wrestler. This could be it.
Could be. And then we got Dave Faulkner versus Andy Wilde, the two latest entrants. Now, Dave Faulkner, because he does have UFC, he's an Ultimate Fighter, MMA experience, kickboxer, BJJ. If Andy Wilde's going to stand any chance in this match, he has to get in close. He has to get into those clinch situations, use that catch wrestling, and throw him around with the array of suplexes that the Dad Bod God does have. As I say, tricky match to call. I would probably give the edge to Faulkner, but as I say, if Wilde can get in close, get into the clinch, throw him around with a few suplexes, I think that'll wear Faulkner down.
I don't know enough about Faulkner to call this one. I love Andy Wilde. It's Andy Wilde's world. I know that in this kind of tournament where there can only be winning by KO or submission, where there are no ropes, yes, that does fall into Faulkner's territory as well, but still got to go with the wrestler.
Got to go with the man. Got to go with Andy Wilde, the Dad Bod God, representing guys like yourself.
Indeed. So who do you think is going to be our overall winner and get the chance to face Dan Maloney at Summer Explosion for the TNT Extreme Championship?
If Marius Al-Ani had still been in this tournament, I would have said Marius Al-Ani hands down. Difficult. Whoever wins is going to be facing Dan Maloney at Summer Explosion. Dan Maloney versus, TNT Extreme Champion versus WXW Unified Champion Tristan Archer. Sounds like a great match. Again, Jörn Simmons, bringing in some of these international stars to have great matches. But I would also like to see these guys like Charlie Sterling and Jay Joshua step up. Maybe even Brendan White as well. So it's a tough one to call. There's a few matches I'd like to see Dan Maloney face in a lot of these guys. So it's a tough one. What about yourself?
I can see it going to Jörn Simmons versus Shreddy, and I think it could be Simmons.
I think it's going to be a great concept. I think it's going to be a great show. I'm gutted that I probably literally can't get over to Liverpool, because getting over to Liverpool does mean to be able to get a hotel. And yes, they are cheaper on a Wednesday and a Thursday night, because it's not the bloody weekend. So, but I spent a fortune recently on getting flights and hotels in Germany for the World Tag Team Festival. So I'm pinching pennies to go to shows this month. I wanted to go to the Wrestle Carnival show, but I had to put that on the back burner. So
Right. Well, let's talk about tag teams, because the following day we're going to have TNT Extreme Summer Explosion on the 25th of August. And that has got a great tag team match as the Kings of the North defend their TNT Extreme Championships against Sunshine Machine.
Yeah. First time matchup, possibly?
Not sure on that one.
Not sure. It's not a match that I remember seeing or hearing about, which is good. I think
they've both been around for a while.
Yeah, it's good to mix them up though, but it's certainly not a matchup that I've seen in a while, but should be a good matchup, as you say. Dan Maloney will be facing the winner of Flawless Victory, and then you've got the Women's Tag Team Championships will be on the line as well. The Live Birds, Lizzie Evo and Angel Hayes. They face the Bay Club, which is Emerson Jane and Debbie Dharma. Should be a great match.
It should be. And then a match that I am really looking forward to seeing, and I will definitely be watching, Shay Monet versus Visage.
Indeed. And of course, the winner of that match will go on to face Effie at the GCW TNT Extreme Weekender. After Summer Explosion, it'll be TNT Extreme are in Wales, Reign of Fire, 3rd of September or 4th of September in Cardiff, part of that huge WWE Premium Live event weekend where you've got the WWE, you got TNT Extreme, you got Progress, you got ICW, you got spoiled for choice of a lot of wrestling. And we've had one matchup announced for that Reign of Fire show, which is Nico Angelo versus Tom Farewell. And I think Tom Farewell, I think Nico Angelo is going to end up being the new Ultra X champion and left in the belt supreme in Wales.
We shall see. It will certainly be a close fought match. Keeping with TNT, the TNT Extreme versus GCW event kicks off on the 15th of September with Supreme Extreme. Announced so far, Blake Christian versus Dean Allmark, Session Moth versus Ali Catch, Alex Colon versus Clint Margera, Matt Cardona versus Man Like DeReese, and Nick Wayne will be in action.
Matt Cardona is a pussy hole.
That is indeed the Twitter tag that we should all be sharing and following through.
Hashtag Matt Cardona is a pussy hole. Of course, Man Like DeReese is going to kick his ass. Did you actually see the promo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. I loved it.
I also saw the response.
Yeah, I did see the response. Bugger him. Tell him. Matt Cardona. It's a new one out actually from Dan Maloney. Dan Maloney calls him Matt Ryder and Zach Cardona.
Nice.
Indeed. Although he didn't call him a pussy hole.
Well, Nick Wayne has also been added to the GCW Liverpool show on the 16th of September. So far announced are Joey Janela, Blake Christian, Alex Colon, Ali Catch, Cole Radrick, Jordan Oliver, Tony Deppen, Effie, John Wayne Murdoch.
Yeah, good little lineup. And of course, the next day following that, it's going to be the GCW Extreme show. Obviously, there has been no matches announced yet. I'm assuming we're probably going to get Effie versus Dan Maloney. No, of course, no, can't. No, we're going to be getting probably end up with Matt Cardona versus Dan Maloney in the main event for that one then, probably. But Extreme Fields is back as well, 29th of October. TNT Extreme look to set the Rock and Wrestling Festival, and they're looking set to be working with other promotions again. And joining the festivities so far are North Wrestling. The Newcastle-based promotion will be heading down to Liverpool for Extreme Fields. In my opinion, these are the two biggest promotions in the North scene right now, and it's amazing to see the two promotions working together. I just think Extreme Fields was amazing last year. I just can't imagine how bloody damn well good it's going to be this year.
It should be brilliant. People saw what happened last year, how popular it was. The music was over, all the different companies putting on the shows. It was brilliantly run, brilliantly shown. And I've got a feeling tickets for this will sell out fast.
Indeed.
Right, Progress. Progress have made a big old change.
They have. Or, well, they're going back to, because apparently at one point it was already an under 40. But Progress are no longer going to be just over 18 shows. They're going to be doing this now. They've reduced their age limit. It's going to be over 14s for this shows. This is something we discussed a few weeks back. One of the things we said is we're not sure why Progress still have an over 18 rating. And it would just be better to actually allow families and to gain more audience. What I didn't expect to see were the goddamn trolls.
There was an excess.
There was an excess of people who thought they were smart and clever, but they weren't, and they weren't funny.
They were dicks.
They were dicks, and it was absolutely disrespectful to every one of the victims. So you just went around making jokes. Oh, look, Progress under 14s are going to let so and so back and so and so back. I remember calling out one, and they were like, "Yeah, well, it's just because I wanted to warn people, and I just don't trust them." I'm like, no, that is not why you did it. You're just being called out on it, and because I know our rule is supposed to be don't engage with trolls, but I couldn't. I really had to call this idiot out. Who said that? Oh, look, this person's going to be returning now. It's under 14s. Ha ha ha. And yeah, it wasn't funny. It was stupid. It was disgusting, and it was disrespectful to the actual victims. And they should all be goddamn ashamed of themselves.
They should indeed. Let's go on to more positive Progress. 24/7 is now available to watch on the WWE Network. Let us recap and review.
Well, Sunshine Machine defeated Leon Slater and RKJ, and oh my god, RKJ and Leon Slater are just so bloody good. It's just unfair that they're so good at their ages. It's ridiculous. They were phenomenal. They did some crazy stuff in this match. It went maybe a bit over the top with the amount of crazy in Spain spots they did, like Leon Slater jumping over the turnbuckles. Then you had RKJ coming off of the balconies. Then you had springboard. It was both of them doing springboard Canadian destroyers at the same time, and it was it got a bit silly, but still, you know what? It was crazy. It was insane. It was a spectacle to behold. Big Guns Joe and LK Messenger had a pretty quiet match. You know, the fans, obviously it was supposed to be Tom Dawkins, but he picked up an injury, so okay, Messenger took over, which Spike Gervais then called him unprofessional for, you know, pulling out. But yeah, it was just bit. Then you had Maggot versus Charles Crowley. Obviously, it's picked the crowd back up. It's just completely entertaining, completely insane, and just in a completely different way. And it was great. And you should go out your way to watch it, because these are two incredible, charismatic characters, but are also just so good in the ring as well. Nick Wayne and Robbie X tore the house down. Nick Wayne picked up the victory. I don't think he should have. Eliza Alexander and Lana defeated Raven Creed and Alexis Falcon. This was okay. Chris Ridgway, Dean Allmark had a great classic technical match. You know, if you're a student of wrestling, you're gonna love this match. If you're a young trainee, you should go out your way and watch this match.
If you're Stephen Soudan,
you could probably skip this. Yeah, but for me, it was a great match. It wasn't a 5-star; it was a 4-star. Kanji defeated Lara Di Matteo in. It was a good match, but I didn't like the ending to it, and then what happened afterwards. I thought it was not particularly well done. Spike defeated Dan Maloney, Man Like Darius, Gene Money, Robbie X, Kid Like Us to an XL Tisca in a Thunder Bastard match. And this was a good match. This was a Thunder Bastard match. Had great spots as well as some excellent wrestling. And overall, this was a good progress. This was 3 hours and 45 minutes long, though. It was a bit of a slog. And for that, I'm going to have to give it 4 sugars. If you were probably there live, it would probably got a higher score. But 3 hours and 45 minutes on the WWE Network is a bit long. And I still don't think Nick Wayne should have beat Robbie X.
Let's go through the announced shows we've got for the Deadly Viper Tour.
Yes, so that kicks off this weekend coming. Copperhead is Sheffield. It's got some great matches. Tell me about them.
We've got a triple threat with Lana Austin versus Raven Creed versus Eliza Alexander. We've got the Greedy Soul versus the Sunshine Machine for the Tag Team Championships. Gene Money will take on Maggot in a match that everyone will enjoy. Kanji takes again Laura Di Matteo for the Women's Championship. Chris Ridgway versus Big Damo for the Progress Championship. And Luke Jacobs versus Man Like Darius for the Atlas Championship. And announced, Spike Trevay will be appearing. Aren't you lucky?
Indeed. I'm a bit like Man Like Darius Atlas Championship.
Well, he is going against a cruiserweight, isn't
he? Yeah, it was like you were saying earlier about. But I guess he is. I think he is the bigger out of him and Maloney now. I think he's gone jacked. He's absolutely he's a big boy. I'd say probably does sit around about 220, I think, maybe.
Maybe after he's had his Wheaties.
Yeah.
Cottonmouth on August the 14th in Newcastle. Tag team action set with 2 huge tag team matches, including Sunshine Machine versus Lycos Jim and the Smoking Aces versus the Greedy Souls.
But who will be champion on the day?
I don't know. We also have Hayata, Chris Ridgway, and Luke Jacobs forming the Northwest Stinger, taking on the 0121 of Man Like Darius, Leon Slater, and
Dan Maloney.
Thank you. I was having a moment there. Spike Trevay will take on Maggot. That will be a really good match.
Yeah.
Takashita versus Dean Allmark will be another very technical match. And a great qualifier match coming up here for the oh god, I've got
Natural Progression Series.
Thank you, Natural Progression Series. Shreddy versus Liam Slater versus Screwface Armored. That's 3 great wrestlers.
Yeah. I was saying this on Twitter. I'd really like to see here them do a Natural Progression Series qualifier match for each of the stops on tour, featuring obviously the local talent, such as it is here with Shreddy, Screwface, and Liam Slater. But my personal opinion is Liam Slater and Screwface Armored have been around long enough and shouldn't be in a Natural Progression Series. The only one that probably should be would be Shreddy. So Shreddy's best because he's usually for the young guys, if you know what I mean. And Leon Slater has probably been around for about 5 to 6 years. He's the North Wrestling champion. For me, he's above. You know, he should be facing Chris Ridgway at this Newcastle show for the Progress World title, in my opinion. Yeah. That's where Liam Slater should be, and of course, Screwface Armored is just like he's the veteran of scene, 20 years.
Well, also at Cottonmouth on August 14th, Rio will be in action, and that is a great thing because Rio is phenomenal.
You know who should have been in the Newcastle Natural Progression Series?
Go on.
That's Black.
Yes, I would agree with that.
Newcastle lad, born and bred.
Yeah, no,
one of the best young competitors in the country right now. But yeah, it looks fantastic. Both of those shows look great. I'm hopefully going to go to the Newcastle show. See what funds I've got left available. As I say, just spend a lot of money, but I if I can, I want to get to this show. I wasn't able to go to the Wrestle Carnival show recently, so hopefully I can get to the show. Carry on.
So, August 28th, Warriors come out and play. We are back at the Electric Ballroom, and announced has been Eddie Dennis making his return.
Indeed. The former Progress World Champion will be making his return. He hasn't been seen in Progress since 2019. It was Chapter 100, the Unboxing Live, and New Hope, where he defended the Progress World Championship and then had to vacate it the next chapter due to injury. So great to see Eddie Dennis back. He's going to be taking on Maggot. Also got to return is Santos Jr.
I don't know much about Santos Jr.
He was, what were they, with Cheap Deputy Dunn, No Fun Police or something. And he's Walter's favourite wrestler. That's all you need to know.
That sells him for me. Yeah. I might have to do my best to go down and see Eddie Dennis making his return at the ballroom.
We'll see what we can do.
Chapter 140 on September the 4th in Cardiff, Wales, as part of our gigantic WWE premium live event. Luke Jacobs has been announced, as has Dean Allmark, Gene Money, Spike Trevay, Alexis Falcon, Sky Smithson, and Jodie Threat.
Good lineup.
It is. Chapter 141, Handshakes and Cheeseburgers, as on September the 18th at the Electric Ballroom. Announced so far.
Oh, God. Sorry.
You. Effie, Jordan Oliver, Tony Deppen, Blake Christian, Nick Wayne, and Ali Catch. I wonder what they're all doing over here.
Yeah, I think just like the weekend, the few days before, they're going to be part of this TNT Extreme GCW weekend. It's the Progress who just jumped into the party as well, and you're going to have plenty of chances to see the GCW talent. So let's just say that.
Deadly Viper Tour's next stop will be the California Mountain Snake in Birmingham on September the 25th. Shigehiro Irii will be making his return to a Progress ring, and I hope I didn't butcher that too much.
Shigehiro Irie.
I was close. Return of the Fly, 27th of September at the Dome. Chris Brooks and Masa Takanashi will be in action. Plus, Shigehiro Irii will also be competing.
Yeah.
Deadly Viper Tour Snake Charmer, 16th of October in Cardiff. Kid Bandit makes their debut for Progress.
Indeed, because Kid the Bandit is down for the Sub Pro show a couple of weeks beforehand, and Chris Brooks, Masa, and Shigehiro Irie, they're all going to be in the UK because they're all part of the World Tag Team Festival, which is like a couple of days after those shows. So there you go.
So yeah, lots of Progress news. We love Progress.
Indeed. ICW, let me tell you about the latest ICW Fight Club quickly.
Go on.
Okay, it started off with Regina Rosendahl, a Finnish a wrestler from Finland, one of the top wrestlers out in Finland, one of the top women's wrestlers in Europe. She faced off against Molly Spartan in a big women match. It was a big women's match. It was just like sometimes when you get those two big blokes, they're both so used to being the biggest in the ring that it was difficult to be maybe in the same size. So it was an okay match. Thatcher Wright versus Levi. This was a bit of it was an okay match, but then it got ruined because Aaron Echo came out and beat up Levi. And then Charles Bungard came out and ran off Thatcher. There you go. We also got a story about Shay Monet in his childhood and how tough things were, and that's why they are so tough, and they are because they've been through it. And then it was Gunn and BT Gunn and Jack Jester in the main event against Leighton Buzzard and Kez Evans. This was a good tag team match. They just collapsed. Overall, this was a meh episode of Fight Club. I'll only give it 2 sugars in my tea.
Oh, harsh.
It was just a meh episode of Fight Club. I can't be. They can't all be great, and they can't always be good. It was just a meh. But it was, yeah, that's what it was. Meh.
Well, ICW will be returning on the 13th of August to the Glasgow Asylum for a Fight Club taping. This will include Theodorus versus Sheik El Sham, Moxie Malone versus Angel Hayes, KOE versus Andy Wilde and Jason Reed, Martin Kirby versus Luke Cairo, BT Gunn versus Shay Monet, and Leighton Buzzard versus Craig Anthony.
Yeah, Craig Anthony made his return at ICW's Who's Party 7. There was definitely a few changes that came over from that. So look forward to when that starts airing on ICW Fight Club, hopefully next week on the WWE Network if we're lucky. But they look like they were good shows.
They've also announced the full lineup for ICW's What's Occurring on the 3rd of September in Cardiff. It will include Kez Evans versus Grado, Kings of the North versus Luke King Sharp and Krieger, Molly Spartan versus Moxie Malone, Daz Black versus Luke Cairo, BT Gunn versus Andy Wilde, Craig Anthony versus Leighton Buzzard, Jack Jester versus the Jackie Polo, TV's own, and the Greedy Souls versus LJ Cleary and Martin Steers.
It's a good lineup. As I say, I'm so buzzing to see Craig Anthony back in ICW. He was really one of the standout of the new stars alongside Kez Evans. His rivalry with Kez Evans was just absolutely phenomenal. So great to see him back. I can't wait for them to conclude their epic rivalry with a heavyweight championship title match and Craig Anthony possibly being the one to dethrone Kez Evans. Although you believe that it will be Grado at What's Occurring, didn't you?
I genuinely can see it happening.
Yeah, I can see him losing it to a guy like Grado. I really
could. He would hate it. He would hate it.
He would really, really hate it. A couple more shows going around in the UK coming up shortly. Some of the top shows I've picked out for us. So let's just go through some of these. Wrestle Carnival celebrated their 1-year anniversary show. I must say I'm absolutely gutted I missed it. They returned to the HMV Empire in Coventry for Charles Crowley's Funhouse. That is on the 10th of September. Tag team action has been announced. Charlie Morgan and Jetta will be facing the team of Emerson Jane and Debbie Dharma, who we know as Team Bay. Debbie will be making her Carnival debut.
We have just had announced, while we have been recording, another match for this.
Which one's that one?
Leon Slater and Man Like DeReese will be teaming up to take on Mark Haskins and Robbie X.
Yeah, that one has been announced. It was at the bottom of my thing.
Oh, I didn't get that far. I thought I got a new one.
More recently announced was Tommy Kyle versus Kelly Six. Now they'll be facing off against each other in a pure rules match. I'm assuming with the winner eventually getting to face Chris Ridgway in a pure rules championship match. Charles Crowley will be facing Gene Money. We now know that Gene Money is the briefcase holder for the big top contract, so I'm sure he'll be cashing it in to make this a championship match against Charles Crowley, who retained his title over Man Like DeReese. As you just mentioned, Leon Slater and Man Like DeReese, or Boisterous Behavior versus Haskins and Robbie X, possibly the best tag team in the UK. Even the fact that they've never really been a tag team. Ava White versus Clementine as well. As I say, that is Charles Crowley's Funhouse, 10th of September, HMV Empire in Coventry.
Yeah, and Danny Jones.
And Danny Jones will be defending the Pro Wrestling Chaos Championship. That is a good point. And I said Coventry really weird, didn't I?
Not too bad.
Guys said Coventry.
Let's see how you mispronounce Banking Hall.
Hopefully not
because
too bad.
Slam Masters Wrestling are going to have the brawl at the Banking Hall. This is on the 2nd of October in Cardiff. Huge matches have been announced so far, including Ace Austin versus Nico Angelo, Mariah May versus LA Taylor, Danny Duggan versus Levi Muir versus Elijah, Brendan White versus Man Like DeReese, plus Mark Andrews will be in action and more.
Yeah, good on Slam Masters over in Wales. That is Ace Austin versus Nico Angelo is going to be so good. Brendan White versus Man Like DeReese, and as I say, Mark Andrews back in action as well on the independents. Should be a great show. More action in Wales is Modern Nomad Pro Wrestling and No Mercy, as they've actually teamed up to bring Cardiff a full day of graps on the 20th of August. I'll do the No Mercy Wrestling show. It is Send It to the Internet at the Pits at 2 p.m. Chris Ridgway will be putting his Wrestle Carnival Pure Championship on the line against Jay Joshua. As you mentioned earlier, they had that fantastic match last year. It's going to be a phenomenal match. I really look forward to this. Triple threat action, Kelly Six versus Bevan versus Big T. You then got a 6-man scramble, and this will be to crown the first ever No Mercy Legacy champion. James Ellis, versus Jimmy Taylor versus Big Guns Joe versus Danny Jones versus Adam Carter versus Santos Jr. Tell me about Modern Nomad Pro.
There at the Bingo Hall at 7 p.m. There will be a 6-man tag team action that has been announced as an experiment in Bowl-O-Rama. Face the Lycos Gym Boys. That'll be good fun. I love experiment in Bowl-O-Rama. Nick Riley will take on Lee Hunter and Chris Ridgway versus Harrison Bennett.
Yeah, as I say, full day of graps for you in Cardiff. Go enjoy that. When was that? That was the 20th of August. United Wrestling are back in Watford there for day 6. Light up. Great card including a Luna Blue versus Ronnie Knox, LA Taylor versus Kira Chimera, Meme Team, which is Memes, Adonis, Pendin, and Armatus versus Josh Nomack, Simon Quest, and Dale Johnson. Rex Armstrong and Harry Sefton versus the House of Card, Jason King and Jordan Sparks. Sunset Playboys, which is Sunset Skip and Captain Peng, versus Delightful Powers, which is Richie Delight and Theodore Powers. And then, of course, you got a main event, CJ Carter versus Mark Atkins. That's going to be great.
It is. Jurassic Pro Wrestling present their Summer Stampede in 2 weeks' time at the Paddock in Harwich on the 19th of August. 6 matches have been lined up, including Ben Jones versus Smashing Mike, Hustle Malone versus Dexter, Tommy Kyle versus Rain Leverkusen, Xander versus Kelly Six, Nick Payne versus Xander Bryan, and an amazing main event of CJ Carter versus Corey McRae versus Nino Bryan.
I just realised it's actually only in 1 week. It is on the 15th of August.
That is in 1 week. I can't read.
No, it's my fault. It's bad notes. Wrestle Island are in action on the 21st of August for Friends Don't Lie. Strange Things. Birkenhead. Connor Klein versus Ginner. Charlie Brennan versus Tommy Jackson. The East Mid Breakers, Carl Kingsley and David Grant versus GFK. Lucia Lee and Wesker versus Act 2. Benjamin Harland and Jack Knudsen versus the Vicious Gentleman Society, Casey Payne and Christy Quinlan in a fatal 4-way elimination tag match. You've also got Hustle Malone versus Lance Rivera for the Wrestle Island title.
There's a wicked poster being done for that as well.
Yeah, I saw that earlier.
Yeah, really good. Kamikaze Pro Wrestling Live 28 is on August the 14th. George Lydon versus Luke Douglas. Kay Jutler versus Chantel Jordan. Bruno versus MJ Grayson. Lucia Lee versus Nightshade. And The Influence, Hassan Ali and Fergus Adderley versus Will Stephens and Alex Connors.
Mm-hmm. Soft Pro Wrestling, they've got their debut show 1st of October in Manchester. Great show lined up. Joseph Collins versus Malik versus Warhorse versus a mystery opponent for the Sovereign Pro Championship. Yeston Reese versus HD Drake versus Commander Stephanie Sterling versus Kid Bandit versus Simon Miller versus Ian Skinner versus Big Guns Joe versus Smashing Mike in a Championship Cup elimination match. The CPF boys of Just Joe Lando and Danny Black versus the 8-7 boys of Roy Johnson and Alexander Roth. Maverick Mayhew versus Tom Farewell. Aurora Tevez versus Lucia Lee. Harley Hudson versus Maria May in a Dollhouse death match. Joey Hayes versus Danny Duggan.
I genuinely think, and I'm sure we'll talk about the Soft Pro show close to the time, that Maverick Mayhew versus Tom Farewell could steal the show.
Oh, definitely. When that was announced just a few weeks ago, I was like, oh, we're being spoiled with this one. This is a great, never before matchup.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Both of those guys are just phenomenal wrestlers, and I cannot wait to see it.
Mm.
Ignite Wrestling Pro, let's get it right, Daniel. Return to Boreham Wood on the 4th of September. Announced so far, Just Joe Lando versus many question marks. James Taylor versus CJ Carter. Laura Di Matteo versus Kira Chimera. Nino Bryant versus Tommy Kyle versus Corey McRae. Mark True versus Murdoch. And the lads versus the West Side Heat.
And we're going to leave it just to let you know that Just Joe Lando has kicked off his US tour, and he's been kicking ass and taking names over at Deadlock Pro Wrestling. I heard he tore the house down. You can check out our interview with Just Joe Lando about his US independent tour, including his GCW debut against Speedball Mike Bailey, his match against Blake Christian. I know he's just had 2 more bookings recently announced because he's had 1 match and everybody wants him on their show now. He is Just Joe Lando. Keep killing it, young man. And just remember to go watch.
No. Don't end yet. Don't end yet. We've got to do a big shout out to somebody. Announced today was some very sad news by one of the great British Midlands wrestlers, Chocolate Thunder. Chucky Thunder, we have enjoyed seeing him at PEW, we've enjoyed seeing him at FIGG, we've enjoyed seeing him all over the Midlands. Unfortunately, he has discovered that he has non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, so he's going to be going into chemo, which is going to take him away from wrestling for a while. Chucky, we love you. We love everything you do. Fight through, do well, and we look forward to seeing you on the other side.
Yeah, always supporting you. We'll be supporting you as soon as you make your return. We'll announce your return with gusto. As I say, just go support British wrestling, go support independent wrestling, and just don't feed the trolls.